All right, I gotta talk about it. We gotta get into it because at this point now it's disrespectful. It's nothing more than disrespectful. And I understand we're having a platform size of this big, this magnitude. We understand like it's only so many blows that we can throw out. But at what point do you guys realize that enough is enough? And maybe, there's a time where we need to change the narrative, especially when it comes to your own people, right? And not just your own people in terms of race or color, but your own people in terms of collective belief, right? It's wild to me how the most saved, judgmental, I mean, saved and religious people can be so judgmental, or people that quote unquote say they're emotionally aware or intelligent, or even aspire to have the same things that we're trying to spread as a possibility, right? Like we consider ourselves mentors at this point. We've been through everything at least 3 times. We almost died together multiple times. So you got to understand it's deeper than just what you're seeing, because you can't you can't relate what we have to anybody else out here on TikTok. And I understand a lot of people have been together for a long time, but to know each other since 14 years old and to go through a lot of like different lifetimes together inside of one lifetime, it's the magnitude is unique. It's very rare. So at this point, we feel like it's a moral obligation for us to share what we're sharing. But when it's disrespected, but so many times, it has to be addressed, because that's not the narrative that we're trying to encourage. And without any type of response, it shows that we're trying to encourage that, or that we're welcoming it, right? So to stop talking in parable, if you have been thinking I'm speaking in parable, and again, you have to understand I have to tread lightly in my words, without beating around the bush anymore. Y'all got to stop with the comments, the hateful comments or the disrespectful comments towards my wife. At a point, you got to realize this is somebody's wife. This is somebody's heart. This is somebody's person that they cherish, right? And I get you may have your opinions. We all have opinions. We're human. A lot of things come to mind just right off looking at something within the first 0.3 seconds. But you acting on those impulses as an adult, so much so to think about the idea, allow it to go through the filter of your reasoning, and then to type it out. Like you really have to walk that thought out. At what point do you say as an adult, this opinion isn't the most loving? Like when does it kick in to your minuscule like memory that if it's not something that I would want said to me, I'd rather not say it, or I maybe shouldn't say it, right? Like I at least for me, and it's 2:22 on the dot. That's crazy. So I should be spreading this message. But yeah, I know I'm kind of rambling, but it's like really, when do you say like, maybe I shouldn't say this? I'll allow somebody else to say that, because maybe sure we're all looking at it, and we may have comments, or we may have our concerns, but for you to just flat out say your disrespectful comment and not think that it doesn't have any type of impact, that's very childish of you. It really is. It shows adolescent behavior. And I thought we were better than that. Like we're in the information age. We're on TikTok now, where a lot of things are unregulated, so you get a lot of information. So at what point do you say, I'm gonna at least balance my time here on this platform to look at things that are educational, that may help me be a little bit more self-aware, rather than just scrolling on things and feeding my brain more negativity? Like, are you really addicted to that type of behavior? And if you are, I understand, because this is the generation that we live in, where you guys just swipe. But as you're swiping, don't formulate opinions. Swipe with a neutral mindset, because you are internalizing a lot of things, and it's showing up in the wrong manner on a page where we're authentically showing our love. You know how much guts it takes to put your love life out there? You know how many guts it takes for people to see your intimate space of where you rest your head? Like, it's a lot that we got to think about and continue to share, because we have to be authentic. We need to show you guys that this is possible. This is our moral obligation. But to come spread your negativity and talk disrespectfully to my wife, like, that's very childish of you, one. And two, like, don't let me cut you, because I look at the faces. I have to see the faces because I have to study how the algorithm works, what type of people are being fed into our analytics, and how they're digesting the information, and you know how they're engaging with it. And to see you guys engaging in such negative manners, it's like, wow, man. Right now I really feel like this world has been split down the middle. It's like either you know or you don't. And it feels like the people that know are losing to the people that just don't know. You guys are like really just like floating underwater and don't even really realize. But I'll leave you with this. In watching this video, the only thing that I need you to take is, if it say it out loud. Before you type it out, say it out loud in multiple different ways. Say it like with an angry voice. If it still sounds loving, then cool, type it, sure. But like think about some of the things that you say. You know what I mean? Because 90% of you guys wouldn't type that or say that in my face or in my wife's face if you were talking face to face. So please don't allow these screens to allow you to get, courageous in your communication in terms like that, because you try that in the real world, it's not going to translate the same. So do the same thing that you would do in person, right? But I don't know, man. Some of y'all goofy, some of y'all childish, and it leads me to believe that there is a lack of understanding, especially in the religious realms. All right, like that's all I'll say on that. You guys can follow me. I'll speak about more on my personal platform outside of this, but in the religious realms, there is a lack of understanding. There's a lack of practice of what's being taught, and quite frankly, what's being taught. Obviously, if you're practicing it, it's not showing up well in your receiving to other individuals. So, just check yourself a little bit more, check in with yourself more, because honestly, when I see things like that, it's like a cry for help, that somebody would rather interject their hurt and their trauma onto other people rather than dealing with it themselves. So it's really a cry to help, and I kind of pity you, but just make sure you never say that in person. Like, that's not something that you would say to my face. And if you are that bold, then you'll see my response in person. But, while we're here on this platform and it's only so far that I can go, the most that I'll say is just do your inner work. All right. Maybe that'll help you. Take that however you may. But, yeah, I had to address it. So